Action.
Welcome to Off Camera, the UC Film Society radio show all about movies. I'm Ollie.
I'm Jake.
I'm Cam.
And we'll be your directors for this episode. This week on Off Camera, we'll be talking about what we've been watching recently, looking at Christopher Nolan's career, and playing a couple of film games. So, welcome, Jake and Cam.
Oh, thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
What have you been watching recently? I think, Jake, you
Jake
have
wants to talk about
quite
many
a
things.
list.
I'll save the best for last, but so
Short and sharp.
so watched Cape Fear, which is a 1990s thriller by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro, on a mission to watch a bunch of Scorsese's before Killers of the Flower Moon next week. This one's like a really cool like B movie. It's really cool to see Martin Scorsese kind of
The B movie?
No.
keep
it's
going.
in that realm. No, but Robert De Niro plays like this
Yellow black.
serial killer that gets out of jail and takes out revenge of his lawyer. Really fun movie.
Sorry.
I also rewatched Steven Spielberg's 2022 film, The Fabelmans, which is this autobiographical film about how he became a director and like his life. Just really personal movie. I love it a lot because he's one of my favorite directors and can really connect to certain parts of the story. I also watched this Australian film called Lantana for reading movies. It's a decent film. It's a good mystery and relationship drama. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it's weird and I don't think it totally works, but cool to see Australian film like that.
Was this after the lecture yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I rewatched Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roger Rules.
Yes.
I was obsessed with these movies as a kid. I haven't seen them since I was a kid. This one was always my favorite, and I was so glad it held up. Literally such an amazing movie. Just a great kids movie and a great movie in general. I am being so genuine right now. I think that movie's amazing.
I hate that they tried to be rebooted, but yes.
It's so dumb, but
It's
that movie is
so,
so great. There's like
the genius.
so many sequences like in a row that are just amazing. Like it never stops moving. So I don't know.
You gave it 4 stars.
Yeah.
every time I see the actress who plays the mum
Yeah.
in any other thing, I'm like, hey, that's the mum from Diary of a
It's
Wimpy
all of
Kid.
them. Like
Don't
Roderick was
watch,
in
don't watch Suits then.
Roderick was in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, true. I remember that.
And it was just so
Yeah.
distracting. But yeah.
Because that's
so
like that was his that was his first big role.
weird collection of movies. But yeah.
Cool. Ollie, what have you been watching?
I have been swamped, so the only thing I've had time to watch is I rewatched Now You See Me, which
Good.
it's
good
actually
series.
really good. I rated it 3.5 stars because it's by no means a perfect movie, but the story is very clever for what is like not the biggest blockbuster or anything like that. It's just a very clever story. They use magic really well. Everything is technically feasible, I say with the biggest air quotes ever, because it's like they have real magic and they're using it to do stage magic, like the most insane stage magic tricks.
Yeah.
But everything is sort of like you can imagine it would be feasible. You're just like, I'm too dumb for it to understand how it would work. But it's a very clever story and it's just fun to watch.
Is it just the first one?
Yeah, I just watched the first one.
Okay.
We were going to watch the second one the next day, but no one wanted to. We
I
were too
haven't
tired.
seen these movies. And I really want to because
You should.
a lot of people I love in those movies.
Every single magic trick in the second one, bar like one shot that's CGI, was all done practically.
Yeah.
It's so good. They had David Copperfield as a consultant on the movie.
The
and
only-
a producer.
And even in the first one, they barely use CGI for anything other than just sick transitions between scenes. Like they'll go through the lock of a door and it just
so
looks cool and it uses its medium in a really clever way.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's definitely the
so I watched
card
that.
tricks though.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I watched that and I also watched The Continental. I finished watching it. Last time I'd only seen the first 10 minutes of the first episode. I've now seen all 3 1.5 hour episodes. And I mean, if you don't like John Wick, you're not going to like this, but it's fun and it's reasonably clever. I wrote a review for it on Letterboxd and I said in that I wish there was more like under the table dealings so that back end grimy gangster sort of stuff. And there's quite a bit of that, but I think that's just due to the runtime that they do have to counterbalance the action. But there is a lot of just overt action stuff, and it's good fun to watch. So yeah, if you like John Wick, you'll definitely like it. If you don't like John Wick, you definitely won't like it.
It's definitely on my list. I guess what I've been watching is I watched the last 3 of the Wes Anderson shorts. Poison, The Ratcatcher, and The Swan. They're all about 17 minutes. Very short, very easy to get through, but they're all based off Roald Dahl short stories. And just the way that Wes Anderson has told them is amazing. They all look like a stage play. There isn't many things that I'd say need to be improved about them. Like very, very little things that I didn't like in each of those shorts. But yeah, the cast in all of them is amazing. The acting performance is amazing. I'd say I'd have to rank them. The Ratcatcher last, just because it was like it had some fun things, but I didn't enjoy it as much. It was a bit weird. I'd put The Swan second because of just that. I don't know. That story was very like, it kind of hit me out of nowhere, but then I got really attached to it.
Yeah.
And then finally Poison. Amazingly
So
well
sick.
done. Benedict Cumberbatch, so funny. Yeah, that's what I've been watching. Also, I just noticed I've got Roderick Rules as 3 stars on Letterboxd.
Do you guys like that? I'm sorry to go back to this,
Honestly,
but do you guys like this
I haven't
movie?
watched it since I was a
I
child.
haven't watched them in a long time.
Were you guys like a fan
And
of those
I
movies?
liked them
when you were a kid.
because
Yeah.
I read every single Diary
I
of a
was
Wimpy Kid book.
Yeah, because they were just so
But-
easy to read.
Yeah, but I can't really remember it.
Okay, fair enough.
I've got the...
Like, I can see plot points from both movies
Yeah.
in my head. I don't know which one's from which movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I would watch it and be like, ha ha ha, that's like, it's making me cringe for like, not in the, it's bad humor or anything, but more like, I cringe when embarrassing moments happen in movies.
There's a lot of it.
And there's a lot of, like, that's the comedy they use, is everyone's being publicly embarrassed.
Yeah.
And
But it's meant to be
I don't love that.
I think it plays into the story well in the second one, actually. The first one, not at all.
Is the first one when the talent show is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
That
what I'm
was
thinking.
cringy
That was
as hell.
it was
Wait,
hard to watch.
No, I think the second one is the talent show, actually.
You just watched it, Jake.
There's like 2 performances in 1 and 2. So like,
Oh,
Right.
so there's the play and then there's the talent
yeah,
show.
the play
believe
I was thinking
the
of,
play
which
was
is in the first
first
one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wizard
so-
of Oz, and then the second one is the talent show.
Yeah, I'm thinking the talent
Yeah,
show.
okay. Yeah,
That-
that's the second one.
It's rough to watch for me.
Yeah,
It's
that's fair.
definitely very targeted at those people that grew up in the US and had that kind of a high school experience.
It's so
Jake.
it's so accurate. It's not, but it is.
It's not, but it is.
Yeah.
No, but it definitely preyed on like that.
Oh yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
how awkward can we make this
Mhm.
experience? Yeah, they're definitely. It's more geared towards that American audience, which is probably why Ollie and I don't connect with it as much. But they're still great films, as far as like your summer film that you go and take your kids to the movie to watch. And yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, that's fair. I hadn't
I
considered
need
that.
to watch it
Yeah,
again, but yeah.
I didn't know we'd spend so much time on Diary of a Wimpy Kid on
Well,
this show.
it's
but
your
it's
fault
awesome.
for bringing it up,
I'm
and
sorry.
it is a bit of fun.
Yes.
I'll do a deep dive next. No.
I'd be down.
No way, no way. Let's talk about Christopher Nolan,
Yeah, right.
like
Sounds great
every
to me.
white boy does. Lots of movies. Jake, you probably know the stats the best. You seem to know everyone's stats.
I know a lot of
give us,
stats.
Give us Nolan's stats.
What do you want? What do you want as stats? I mean, he's got 12 feature films. He released his first in 1998, which was this little indie film. I actually haven't even seen it. It's like 16 minutes. It's black and white. Then he moves into, kind of indie blockbusters a little bit. Memento is like his first big film. It's a really groundbreaking film. You guys haven't seen Memento, right?
I was going to watch it the other day.
Yeah.
Well, I said the other day, it was like a year ago, but
The way he tells the story in that is very, very inventive and very fresh. So he gained a lot of traction for that. And then he does Batman. And those movies are awesome. I know we've all seen those.
is that, it's not directly after. He
Not
does
directly. He
Inception
does
before that,
No,
right?
no.
No?
He does
Oh,
Batman
Inception's in
Begins, Dark
between.
Knight, Inception, then Dark Knight Rises.
So is
He
Batman
does-
Begins right after Memento?
No. He does
There's
that one
The
film in
Prestige.
between. He does Insomnia. Batman Begins is 05, and then Prestige is 06.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I
was-
skipped
was
over
churning them
Insomnia.
out.
Yeah, he went. Insomnia is a
His-
remake. That's why I didn't really mention it. And I haven't seen it. But yeah, he does Batman. And
his letterbox is not very well kept. Oppenheimer's not even listed on there.
what?
His most recent film is Dunkirk, apparently. So
You're
this
looking
is
at his actor performances. You're not in his director
starring.
section.
Oh,
Whoops.
director. Well, cut that bit out.
Nope.
No. Okay, yeah. So he's
Letterboxd
done.
is well
he's done.
curated.
It's very well done, especially if you're an idiot like myself. So he's done Oppenheimer, Tenet, Dunkirk, Interstellar, Inception.
Mm.
So many amazing films. Yeah.
Yeah, he was certainly one of the first directors I really fell in love with. I feel like he's a lot of people's entryway into filmmaking and loving film, especially with Batman, as we grew up when those movies were kind of coming out.
Or I would say loving more complicated film.
That too.
Because
That too.
his movies are not the most accessible.
Right.
They are harder watches.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of discussions I had with my friends in high school, like, oh, have you seen Inception? Oh, I didn't understand it. It's like, yeah, they're harder watches.
Yeah. And if you think Inception's hard to follow, try watching Tenet. I mean, he's moved into such
I
a
had
complicated...
to watch it twice to properly understand it.
I've seen it 5 times. I still don't get it, but I love it so much.
Wow.
I get it.
Okay.
I'm joking, but
No, I don't get it.
it's really hard to understand, and he's definitely moved into a phase of his career where Inception and Interstellar, I feel like he explains things a lot in those movies, and I think he explains it a little bit too much, in my opinion, in those movies, even though I love them.
In Inception, though, he explains it enough for you to understand what they're
Right.
doing, but then it's left up to interpretation.
Yeah.
Especially the very end.
Yeah.
Nobody knows whether
Right.
it was a
That's-
dream or real.
That's what I like.
That sort of
Interstellar doesn't leave a lot up to your interpretation.
But I think that's
No.
on purpose because it's so high concept.
He gives a lot of explanations to that. And yes, it's intentional, and yes, it works. It just holds it back a little bit for me, and that's why I kind of gravitate towards his more recent films more, like Tenet. I love just him saying, there's a line in the film that says, don't try to understand it, feel it. And I think I love that. I love him
That's
just
a
saying...
very good analogy.
I mean,
for
that's
his
how you should
movies.
watch
Yeah.
movies, though.
Exactly.
You don't... I say as a film student, you don't have to critically watch everything.
And you don't have to understand everything.
Like my favorite... With Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
I watch it for the vibes.
Mhm.
I'm not going in going this is the worst Marvel movie ever if I don't enjoy it. I'm just watching it, and that's why I like Thor: Love and Thunder
They're
and
just
some of the
fun.
more controversial movies because I just had fun watching them, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very fair. Yeah, I just don't think you need to understand everything, especially after a first viewing. I love him just taking you on a journey. That's what I love most about Nolan films, especially now. I just know that when I go in, I'm going to get a crazy experience. Every time you watch a Nolan film, you see something unparalleled, even if it's just one sequence. There's you look at all his films, there's one sequence that you will never forget in your brain when
Yeah.
you watch that movie. It's just a given now. And I love his movies so much.
I think his main strength is how he controls time in his movies.
For sure.
So in Inception, obviously, and Interstellar,
And Tenet.
and yes, and Tenet. And
Those three are the
those
most
are
about time.
Those
Mhm.
are the most noticeable, but also the most well done. And I think
Well, that's because
Interstellar
their theme is
especially-
explicitly time, whereas
Exactly,
the other
exactly.
movies, their theme is not time, but he plays with time.
yeah, but he always uses that ticking clock sound effect, which is just it's a staple. Inception is amazingly well done at it because you can tell with they walk you through enough of the concept of okay, you're inside someone's head in their dreams, and because yes, we experience dreams Like it feels like something that could realistically happen. And because we experience dreams in like you'll nod off, have like a full on epic monologue in your head and wake up and it's only been like 20 minutes. And then building on that more, okay, what about a dream within a dream? But what about a dream within a dream within a dream?
But what about
exactly
a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream? Like,
yeah.
Whoa. And then I reckon if they went to 5, that would have been too much. But
yeah,
you know.
But they might have.
It always feels like he could make, specifically Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, and Oppenheimer, and like his movies, unlike the Batman, that aren't like a part of a franchise.
Post-Batman movies.
Yeah, his post-Batman movies.
Yeah,
they feel like they could have a sequel. Like they do not need one, but they feel like they were setting up for one. Especially at the end of Interstellar, when McConaughey's like, "I'm gonna go and find."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go up to that planet.
Yeah, go to the planet and find where she's making this. She's trying to survive, and they all feel like they could be set up for a sequel, but they don't need one because he does it
Same with Tenet.
so damn well.
It's like
I hope he doesn't do sequels. Though.
No,
like don't fall into.
I don't
that.
think he'll
Just
ever
keep making.
I don't think he'll ever do
stories.
another like trilogy or anything like that.
Yeah,
he did it to make the movies he's making now. Even though he cared a lot about those characters, and obviously put so much craft into that. Dark Knight's one of the best movies of all time. He just needed that
safety,
push.
safety net so that he could make the more insane ones.
Yeah, he's not making Inception without Dark Knight. That's not happening. So,
but
very
some
necessary
of the
movie.
His strength is definitely in those moments that aren't like the climax or something. Still making them like the most powerful moment in Oppenheimer for me was after they'd built the bomb and they'd tested it and everything. That was really cool. But the biggest moment was the end where he's being interrogated. And that was just so intense. I really enjoyed that.
So good.
I think I enjoyed it more than the lead up to the bomb, which was still really, really well done. I can't understate this. This movie is awesome.
Yeah. Every time I've rewatched Oppenheimer, those parts have worked more and more for me. On the first watch, it was like really jarring after the bomb to move into that section.
Yeah.
But when you know it's coming and you just see how he does it, it's masterful. It's
so
masterful, especially with the score. Can't talk about Nolan without talking about his scores. Obviously, he works with Hans Zimmer so much and makes so many iconic scores. But now he's with Ludwig Göransson, who's also just killing it. So
yeah, in Tenet and Oppenheimer, he is just...
Tenet score is one of my favorite scores ever.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you can't hear what the characters are saying, but
the
I don't
point.
care because it sounds so good.
He has the most random trajectory, Ludwig.
He very does.
He
very
started
much
out
does.
with just like TV shows. Like he scores New Girl, great
That's
TV
so
show,
weird.
very very different to Oppenheimer. And then like he does Black Panther, which is like they're pretty suspenseful,
Both
and like
Black
the scores
Panthers.
are insanely good on those. He does Creed, but like he starts out with random things. Like he does We're the Millers. And he does, like I say, TV shows like New Girl, and then he ends up on The Mandalorian, and then from there he's on like Tenet and Oppenheimer and these massive things.
It's really cool. I think he's gonna have a great career.
He did Inner Workings, that little... was it Disney short? About like the brain and the body.
I don't know
and
that
the
one.
dude going to work.
That's funny.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so cute. Yeah.
So obviously Nolan's made all these amazing movies throughout his career, but I feel like now with his two most recent films are like some of my favorites from him. I think he's in a great spot for his career. I can't wait to see what he does next. I feel like he's really thriving now, which is crazy to say after like such a long career of great films. Like he's made so many amazing films already. So it's just kind of crazy how like, Oppenheimer is one of his biggest films and it's a 3-hour biopic. Like only he can make that like such an event.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the visual clarity of his films and IMAX for a second.
Oh yes.
Christopher Nolan has said that he believes that film is still the future because of just the amount of detail and the visual uniqueness compared to digital. And because it stands out so much, especially in Oppenheimer when they developed a special black and white 70 millimeter film just for that movie. Like he has Nolan has that pull for Kodak to make that. Yes, he probably paid them millions of dollars.
Right.
But I wish that we were able to shoot on film here. Like, there's a bunch of unis up in Sydney that do that as like even like a 1-year course of learning how to shoot on film. I really wish we could do that here. That would be so cool. Because then, if that's the way that the movie industry is heading, that's a very important skill to have.
I'm gonna say it. I don't care about film.
I care deeply about film.
I think a movie is a movie, and it depends on the director, the cinematographer, and the actors. Like, I don't think, and the script, like all the parts of making a movie. I think film gives it a look. I think digital can give it a look too. Like, I don't think the look of film makes enough of a difference for me to care about it. And I also don't think digital is going to go away. I think film will have a resurgence, and it never went away because there are some elitist directors who never stopped using it. But
Tarantino.
But I don't think it's going to
Nolan.
And no. He's not elitist though. Tarantino is like, he's up.
I just don't think it's going to be the only or the main like version again.
It is good that digital is getting so good and so cheap now that you can make it on your phone. You can make an amazing looking movie on your phone. But I think
I've never watched a film movie that I've been like, the film adds so much charm to this that it's better than if it were digital. I watch the movie and I go, I'm also not a cinematographer. But I don't think I've looked at a movie and been like, this changes the look so much that if it were digital, I would hate it, even if the directing, the acting, the writing, the score, everything else were the same. The film just doesn't, it being on film doesn't make that much of a difference to me.
That's fair.
Like it exists, and I acknowledge that it has a nice look, but there are also some absolutely stunning movies that I think look better than any film movie, or not any film movie, but like than just the film look that are done on digital. Film's cool, and I would shoot on it if I could, but I wouldn't exclusively shoot on it.
Okay.
Just use whatever.
So I know that in my last couple of films, I have tried to recreate like a film look from a digital sensor, which
I also just like, I'm sick of teal and orange, so.
Good. I reckon we should do more black and white films as students. That'd be so cool.
Yes, we should, but that's not what I'm talking about.
No.
Just give me reds and browns and greens, and I love blue and I love orange, but
anything else.
That is the film palette.
We'll do purple and red.
Oppenheimer is very much that.
Purple and yellow.
Purple and yellow.
They are the ones that are meant like opposite complementary ones, like orange and blue are.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, that's just on the color wheel.
No, we're moving them. We're moving into a new
digital, a new
filmic look.
Yeah. No. But just like, yeah, it doesn't make enough of a difference to me.
Okay.
But it's really cool that
so much.
Yeah. Like,
it's really cool.
Like
that
Rise of
Nolan,
Skywalker, every single Pirates of the Caribbean movie has been shot on film. Like, 35mm, I believe. Yeah. And you can't tell, like, especially in Rise of Skywalker, it looks like it was shot on a digital camera. Exactly.
Like, it, to some degree, it just doesn't make a difference. It's like, people would be like, yeah, you can't tell. That's really cool for film. But if you can't tell, why not just shoot it on digital where it's going to be easier, better for the environment, blah, blah, blah.
It's all down to the cinematographer and the director's choice as well. Yeah. So pick your poison. I enjoy it. Jake likes it. Ollie doesn't care. But it's cool. But it's cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And like, I've done film photography, and I know the process is different, but they're related. I've done film photography, and that was really fun. But I just don't care about it more than digital or anything like that.
I had the privilege of seeing Oppenheimer on 70mm film, and just like, I just loved how it looked, and like, I don't know, I just love the classic feel it adds to it for me personally. And I think it's special when you like see that a film's being projected on film. it feels like an event to me a little bit. I saw, moving away from Nolan a little bit, in May, I saw the original trilogy, Star Wars, all presented on 35 millimeter film.
Wow.
And like that was just awesome because you could like see like when they changed the mags in the reel. I love that type of stuff. I don't know. It kind of just adds to
It makes a difference how they're
filmmaking
using
experience.
it though. Like if they're doing
Yeah.
that, that's more of like an editing thing.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it was shot on film, you can only do that if it's shot on film.
Mm-hmm.
But they only had that as an option because they shot on film. Like it's an editing thing.
Kind of. So the Batman was shot on, I forget which camera, but in the process of in post production, they actually scanned it onto film to get that look. Where is it? I'm finding it. So they used ARRI digital cameras, and no, it's literally just like ARRI digital cameras and Sony digital cameras. But they did scan it onto film to get that kind of dirty grungy look. But yeah, it's all the creative process.
Well, yeah, like there's a difference. It's like shoot it on film, shoot it on digital and scan it on film, shoot it on digital and try and do like
Replicate film.
yeah, try and replicate the filmic look,
Yeah.
or just shoot it on digital. They're the four options, sort of. 3 of those are related to film.
Shoot it on videotape.
I do agree with you though. With
On
what you-
VHS.
It's like it's all a stylistic choice, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I just don't think that stylistic choice is definitely better. It's just a different stylistic choice. Whereas some people are like that visual look is or that stylistic choice. So like the changing of the mags or any part of it is visually better. I just think it's another option. Like it's a cool option, one that I would experiment with if I had the opportunity, which I don't at the moment. But I just don't think it's better. It's just another option.
Yeah, it doesn't make or break the film at all. It doesn't like change the experience. I just think it adds to it a little bit for me personally.
Yeah.
Certainly adds to it. I will never deny that.
So that got a little bit off track, but Christopher Nolan.
Lots of good movies.
What's
Do we
your-
know what his next
really good
movie
movie.
is? No.
Yeah, apparently he's doing James Bond.
Yes.
Is
If you
that
watch-
just rumored?
Yes.
It's rumored heavily. If you watch Tenet, you can tell that he has the sickest James Bond movie ever, and it's basically It's basically a spy movie with time travel elements in it.
Christopher
Nolan
as
wants to
James
make
Bond.
James. Christopher Nolan as James Bond.
That'd be
Christopher
good.
Nolan wants to make James Bond films in a period setting.
Yes. So, don't necessarily want him to do that, although
In
I would love
talks
it.
to direct the next 2 or 3 films.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Which is interesting, right? Because we were just talking about him like not doing a franchise again, but like
Yeah. But this is a different
it would be
franchise.
different.
It's different.
Like
It's not,
I agree. I feel like he could do one Bond movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him
Because
to do more than
Bond-
one.
Bond is one of those characters and one of those franchises where every movie is different. And even Daniel Craig's movies, you can almost take them each individually.
For sure.
But like he could do just one, but I don't think he would. Like if he did one, it would be with the new Bond actor, and then he's not just going to only do one and then send it off to someone else.
Yeah, I don't
So
think
he'll
that's
do a couple.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know what his next film's going to be. It's going to be interesting.
it's going to be good.
Yeah.
That's
I
all
really
we
want him
know.
to do a horror movie. I think it'd be so cool. Just because I want to see it. I don't know. I'm happy with whatever he chooses because he's in like probably the best state of his career right now. He's on such a good run of movies.
Hasn't he also just said he's not going to make anything for a while?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Did
I
he?
don't know.
What's-
Someone said that. I don't know if it was Nolan or someone else.
There are a lot of people that are like, oh, he mentioned this thing in an interview, like a hypothetical, and oh, he's gonna do it. He's definitely gonna do it.
He's going to win a lot of Oscars
Just
this
a
year.
hypothetical.
And he hasn't won many Oscars.
No,
Like, this
which
is going to be his
weird.
big year. Like
Weird.
this film is definitely going to get nominated for Best Picture. It's probably the front runner. Definitely going to get nominated for Best Director. So many things.
Best cinematography,
Screenplay, like all of these things. It's going to be really cool to see him finally get his moment.
best original screenplay,
Adapted.
adapted. Sorry,
Yeah.
like 'cause, yeah, right.
So what's Christopher Nolan's next movie? Put simply, we don't know. This is directly from Dexerto. Nolan hasn't teased any details about what his next movie will be, what shape it will take, what it'll be about, who it'll revolve around, or remain a mystery. This is a quote from Nolan, as I do interviews and the film's coming out, I'm always asked, do you know what you're doing next? And the answer is always the same. For me, I do one thing at a time and I put everything into it obsessively, and the film is not finished. Well, the way I like to put it is, the audience finishes the film.
It's a great way
I
to
like
put it.
that.
Yeah.
And then they've got predictions. James Bond, Howard Hughes biopic, The Keys to the Street, which is an adaptation of a book following a woman's investigation into several homeless people being impaled and killed in London's Regent's Park. The Prisoner,
Ooh, that actually makes
which is a
sense
TV
for
series released in 1967 following a British intelligence agent, I assume, who's abducted and taken to a strange coastal village, and anyone who tries to escape is merely recaptured or killed.
I just want him to
the predictions.
I just want him to do something original. I don't want him to do a Howard Hughes biopic. That already exists. He just did a biopic. Like, I want him to do another thing like Tenet.
Do
Cause
something else that he
I think
hasn't done.
Bond would be interesting,
Yeah.
but I just think more original stuff is always better.
for sure, he just did an adaptation. So I think it'd be nice for him to go back into his own, Inception, Interstellar, Tenet, where he's coming up with something crazy. That's just my personal hope. Do you guys have a favorite Nolan film?
Out of the ones I've seen,
Yeah.
Inception.
Yeah.
Like I was going to say The Dark Knight, but I don't even know if that's my favorite of that trilogy, just because for me, I watch them all
They
together.
blend.
Like I would never watch just one of the three, and so I don't know if I have a favorite of the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to have a least favorite, it would be The Dark Knight Rises. But that was also my favorite for a long time because it was the first one I watched, and I love the opening sequence with the plane and just all of that.
It's really good.
Very complicated movie, but
Yeah.
very good movie.
It's by no means a bad movie. It's a fantastic movie. It's just out of the three, possibly the
It's
weakest.
very flawed.
But yeah, I don't think I have a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I just watch them all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I can say I like all three Batman movies better than I like Inception, because that's not fair. That's like 3v1.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
my one favorite Nolan movie would be Inception.
Love that. Okay.
Because I recently rewatched Interstellar.
It's that one.
It's still Oppenheimer for me. I just
Yeah,
I need to.
it's one of his best movies for
I
sure.
need to. I'm hyped for when it comes out on digital because I am getting that in the highest quality Blu-ray I can
Yeah.
get.
Do you
I
have a
feel-
DVD collection, Blu-ray collection?
Not extensive,
I
but
have a massive one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I've got there's a sizable DVD collection from when I was a child. Actually, all three of the original Diary of the Wimpy Kid movies I've got.
On Blu-ray?
Not on Blu-ray, just on regular DVD.
Damn, my man.
but-
That's awesome.
And yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a DVD collection. I believe in the supremacy of physical media over digital,
Yes.
just
Yes,
for
please.
digital can be lost,
I'm glad we agreed that.
but it's too much money and I'm a poor uni
I'll
student.
have to send you guys my collection. It's pretty fun.
This is why we need less digital consoles. We need more discs.
Yeah, that's if
what
I
the
ever
hell,
get a
Steam?
PS5, which we were talking about before we started, it will be a disc one, not a
yeah,
not a
for
digital
sure. I was
one.
never
I
gonna-
still buy digital games, even on consoles, even if I have the disc one. But
I do both.
I'll get the disc
Yeah, I
drive
will
one
prefer the
Yeah.
disc.
I
It's
mean,
definitely
because they
Oppenheimer.
normally have more space as well,
Mhm.
more storage on the
Yeah.
console.
The Dark Knight is certainly my favorite Christopher Nolan film. Unlike you, I feel that one sticks out for me just because they sort of blend together, but I've seen that one too many times that it just kind of
I think
is able to
when
stick
I
out for me.
watched The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker stands out,
Right.
but the actual events of the movie don't necessarily stand out. Like that whole final sequence in the building,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't really stand out to me. It sort of all blends together until the very final section where Joker's dangling off the edge. It's
Mhm.
like, what's happening? Oh, Joker's off the edge of the building.
Yeah.
That's sort of it.
That
And
movie
it's the obviously there's the hospital, the truck chase,
opening.
and the opening, but they're three major things, but everything in between that, it's like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, now that I'm saying it, I can picture more things. But when I think back on it, it's just like, yeah, Heath Ledger's Joker steals the show and is fantastic, but the rest of it, like, it's
Doesn't really
fantastic.
stand out.
It's a fantastic movie, and I love it. I'm not saying I don't like it, but it's just I couldn't pick it over Inception because those in-between parts are just like, it's a dark screen with some Batman stuff happening, and I love Batman, but
That's
it's
fair.
just a dark screen.
Watching it on like a washed out projector or TV monitor in the back of the car seat.
It's one of those movies that's like, directors, learn that you can turn the brightness up a little bit.
Please make it brighter.
I probably wouldn't be as in love with film without The Dark Knight. I feel like it was like one of the first films to get me really
There you
started.
go. See, I don't feel like any film did that for me.
Oh, wow.
Like,
really?
I just,
not even like How to Train Your Dragon.
That's only become my favorite movie recently. Like, since rewatching. There's no movie that I watched when I was really young that was like, oh, I love movies for this. I've just always watched movies and enjoyed them. So I can't say, like, I don't have any special attachment to The Dark Knight, for example, like you do, because it got me into film.
Interesting.
Like, I also don't think I'm into film. I study filmmaking and I like watching movies, but I'm not obsessive.
You prefer the
about it.
making over the
I
watching.
love that you're obsessive over it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But I just like it.
Yeah,
I watch movies. Like I say, with Marvel, I'm just here for a good time.
Here for the vibes.
Here for a good time. And that goes with every movie. I hate saying bad things about any content.
Yeah. Yeah, like...
So I don't feel like I can be obsessive over it.
That's fair.
Jake, you make me feel like I've watched no movies whatsoever.
same.
You're like, have you seen this movie? This is amazing. No, I haven't seen it. Like I've heard of it, and I know it's good I've heard from other people, but I haven't watched it.
That's not
And
my
that's for
intention,
like
guys, I'm sorry.
70% of the movies you've talked to us about. Like even
You are the definition of a film student. Like all the online memes, except without the
so bad.
obnoxiousness.
I don't know
You've
about
got the traits, but you're not obnoxious about it.
that. Yeah.
Whereas I feel like I'm not saying I'm not an obnoxious film student, but I just don't feel like I have as many of those traits. Like, watches every single movie, is obsessed with this one particular well-known movie, blah blah blah.
I get so self-conscious in like film classes when we're like talking about movies, and it's just like I don't want to, like, I have to, because I can't help it, because I want to say like my opinions or talk about like films that I love, but then after I do it I'm like, oh god,
Well, that's why we're
no one else
here.
is speaking, so this has been
everyone's
a very good
like,
outlet for
you
me.
nerd.
Yeah. In reading movies, they're like, what do you think about the movie? And I'm like the only one that's talking, and then everyone else is like silent, and I'm like, oh.
That's definitely because people just don't like to talk.
Well,
in
but
class,
neither
or
do
they
I,
don't-
but like
they
when
don't
it's
pay
actually
attention.
like something
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
interested
yeah.
in, I'm like, yeah.
But
Let's
also,
go.
like, I only started because you guys were using Letterboxd a lot. Now,
I started because he was.
well, yeah, I started because you, Jake, are doing it,
I
and
was
so
using-
now anytime I watch a movie, I'm gonna put it on Letterboxd just to get into that practice, because I feel like it helps to be critical of movies when you're making movies.
Yeah.
And so I want to get into that habit, but I never used to do that. And so even if I watched something that I enjoyed, I would just be like, yep, and then I'd probably forget about it not that long later.
I
not
was using
forget about it, but just
IMDb beforehand, but then
Mhm.
I've been told by many people in my class that IMDb is crap.
No,
Don't-
I love IMDb.
Don't use IMDb.
IMDb is
Use-
awesome.
use
I love like
Letterboxd
going to the
instead.
trivia section after I watch a movie
Oh.
and like learning all the fun
I
facts.
use
I-
it to look at
I-
all like the text specs
That's
and
it.
stuff.
I
That's so
don't
cool.
use IMDb for any. I would never look at a review on IMDb,
Me neither.
and I don't care about like movie scores on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, or anything.
No,
I
Letterboxd.
don't care about movie scores. Full stop.
Yeah, me
Not
neither.
even on Letterboxd. I'll just watch a movie if I think it looks good.
That's good. You
But
should.
IMDb is really good for things like the technical aspects and what I'm about to talk about, like knowing all the upcoming releases.
Yes, please.
So-
All right, let's do it.
So coming out tomorrow, Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Jake's
my God.
excited.
I will not be seeing this in theaters because I'm going to the show, so I'm not going to
Wow,
spoil that
okay.
experience for me.
There's
You know
been
what I mean?
there's been a lot of controversy around showing these at cinemas because they're encouraging people to get up and dance, but it's people are like, there's two sides of the argument. There's people that are like, I really love Taylor Swift. I'm gonna get up and dance like it's like I'm actually at the concert. I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna be loud and obnoxious and whatever. Then there's the other people that just want to go in and watch it as if you'd watch like a regular film.
That's dumb. It's a concert film. You should get up and dance. You know what you're going in for. Do you guys agree?
Did you get up and dance when you watched Bohemian Rhapsody?
I didn't see it in the cinemas, but I didn't see it in theaters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I saw it because I wasn't into film when that came out.
Okay.
Saw it after. But for example, like this concert film that I love from the 80s called Stop Making Sense. It's one of my favorite bands, Talking Heads. I saw that in the cinemas in 2021, and like everyone was up and dancing. I was like, this is awesome because I love this music.
See, I just wouldn't go and see a concert film.
That's
like
fair.
I'm not going to talk about music
Right.
on this podcast,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't go and see a concert film.
Mhm.
I would rather just go and see the concert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if I can't see the concert, I've missed the experience.
That's
like
fair.
that's just how it goes for me.
I love that movie just because of like how it's filmed and staged and everything.
Whereas like a fictional movie about like a biopic
Yeah,
of the band,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
where like Bohemian Rhapsody, absolutely,
yeah.
because
Mm.
I sang along to that.
Yeah.
Not as loud as I could, but I
Yeah.
was singing.
But if you're dancing in Bohemian Rhapsody, like getting up and dancing, that's a bit weird
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like it's a movie. It's not in like an actual like concert. There's gonna be dialogue in between. There's
Yeah.
no dialogue in between in concert films. It's just singing and
It's
performing.
it's literally just a concert.
Yeah.
And then October 19, Killers of the Flower Moon.
A week from today, I
A
will be
week
seeing
from
this film.
today,
Which-
Jake's gonna see it.
We're all going to see it on the
And then-
22nd.
And then the Film Society showing of Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, and then we're gonna see it on the 22nd, and then talk about it on the 23rd.
big episode.
Do a big episode. It won't release on the 23rd, but
No, that's when we'll record it,
we'll record it then.
and then we'll
the
get
day
to it
after.
in like 3 months or something.
Yeah, it'll come out quite a bit later. Also coming out on the 19th is Foe, which is a drama sci-fi thriller with Saoirse Ronan, Paul Mescal, Aaron Pierre, and Jordan Chodzisner. I have no idea who that is. Sorry, Jordan.
I don't know who that is.
And then there's a couple of there's a documentary. Then October 26th, Five Nights at Freddy's movie is coming out. There's a very big like fandom that are obsessed with this movie and are so excited for it. I've never played a Five Nights at Freddy's game,
Neither.
and I'm scared of horror, so I'm not.
I won't be seeing
I
that
won't
movie.
be seeing.
I
it.
won't be seeing that movie.
I died on the first night in every single one, and then never touched it again.
Yeah, and then Dumb Money, which is a comedy biographical drama with Paul Dano, Pete Davidson, Vincent D'Onofrio, and America
I'll
Ferrera.
be there day one.
Is also coming out on October 26th.
Do you know what this is about?
I don't.
It's about the GameStop.
That's the GameStop.
The
thing.
GameStop stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, if you don't know, this is when Reddit, when there's a subreddit called Wall Street Bets, and they got wind that a bunch of hedge fund this is going to be really, definitely just Google it. This is very, very rough overview. This is when a bunch of hedge fund companies bet that the GameStop stock was going to crash. So the subreddit Wall Street Bets, they started buying up stocks in it, and these hedge fund companies lost billions of dollars in it was like the space of 2 weeks or something. They lost billions of dollars, and these people on Reddit are making, I think that the highest number I saw was like $75 million.
One person.
One person made
Wow.
$75 million just from how much money they put into the stock, and then eventually everyone was like, they were
and it just
joking
leveled
about,
out.
well, hold, don't sell, and then they sold and it crashed anyway. But it was still like this is so funny to watch.
I don't know how
It went
good
on
this
the
movie will
news.
be, but it'll definitely be fun.
Well, it'll
And
be a
definitely be
comedy, and
interesting.
it's got Paul, like that.
Paul Dano
cast,
plays the
so
Redditor.
so it's going to be funny, even if it's not like
Mhm.
cohesive or anything.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's going to
It'll
turn
be like
out,
those
but it'll be good.
I forget what it's called, but there's a movie about it's a TV sorry about the GFC in 2008.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm picturing a bit like that.
Have you guys seen The Big Short?
No.
No.
That's a really good
But-
movie about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
And I hope it's in that vein.
that's
but I
probably
don't
a
think it
better
will be.
example
Yeah.
that more people have seen.
Yeah. And that's all I'm going to list for now because everything beyond that is November, and so I'm not going to talk about them for another 2 weeks. But we are going to play Pick Your Moment, where we all have one handful of popcorn and we get to eat it at one moment in a movie, only one. And that movie is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Awesome.
Such a great movie.
One of my favorite movies.
Indiana Jones is just so much fun. And again, like I'm saying, not to talk about the new one, but to talk about the new one, I just watched it and I had fun.
Mm-hmm.
Was it perfect? No, but it exists.
So if you've
Spielberg
been
did.
living under a rock for the past 40 years, Indiana Jones, starring Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, a whole bunch of these like classic 80s actors, and it's about an archaeologist in the 1930s.
It's in
30s?
Mid to late 30s.
Mid to late 30s, just before World War II, who's discovering a bunch of ancient treasures like the Ark of the Covenant and
Raiders is set in 1936.
1936. Yeah, it wasn't far off. But yeah, this is a whole series of films, most of them directed by Steven Spielberg, made by Lucasfilm, and written by George Lucas, our old friend.
Spielberg and another guy who I can't remember. That's going to make me mad.
Somebody. But the general plot of the film is Indiana Jones is hired by the US government to find the Ark of the Covenant before the Nazis do. And they go to, I believe is it Egypt? I think he goes to Cairo.
Yeah.
To try and, to find this, and he meets up with a friend who's like this big
Salah.
Awesome
character.
Best character in the franchise.
Yeah, I agree.
He's so funny. Who's like this. He's got a big pull in this industry in Egypt.
Yeah. I only just realized the other day that Salah is played by John Rhys Davies, who plays Gimli
Yeah.
in Lord of the Rings.
It's so awesome.
Such different characters.
What?
You barely recognize him, obviously, because he has the beard and everything.
Like I knew Gimli was played by John Rhys Davies. I didn't know Salah was.
He doesn't even look that short.
He's not short. He's the tallest of the Lord of the Rings cast.
What?
Anyway.
And Alfred Molina's in this movie, which is awesome.
Yes, Alfred Molina is in this movie very briefly.
Yeah. Love seeing that guy.
Since I watched Spider-Man, the Raimi movies, I've noticed Molina, but I've only really noticed him like quite recently because he's in a bunch of these sort of like random movies that he just has minor roles in. Like he's in Boogie Nights, he's in Raiders, he's in
his
a whole bunch of
CV is the most like
silly
all
little,
over the place,
little mini jobs, and then he's this big villain in Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and he's a great actor.
Yeah, I love him so much.
But
He
let's
does have
do
quite the
our
range.
moment picking.
All right.
Who wants to go first?
I reckon Jake, you should go first this time.
I always go first.
Did you? Ollie
I'll
goes.
go first.
Ollie
I'll
goes
go
first.
first.
Ollie go first.
I'm not even going to say that there's multiple moments. Obviously, there are multiple moments, and you guys are probably going to pick different moments. But I'm going to say the fight under the plane
Ooh,
with
good pick.
big bald guy who then gets sucked into the propeller. I'd say that is the most intense moment.
Jake, you're just trying to remember.
You know, where they're
I thought it was
fighting.
Lost Crusade.
It's not the Last Crusade.
It's not.
I'm
It
thinking of a
is.
different plane.
I'm not cutting it out because you made a mistake.
Fair enough.
They all no. To be fair to Jake, they all kind of blend together.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless it's like the big finales and
Yeah.
intros, they all kind of blend together.
yeah, but no, that's my moment because every time I watch it, I'm like, oh my goodness, because Indy nearly dies like 100 times in that one fight, and then
Oh yeah, that's such an
Eventually-
awesome fight.
I'd be interested to
eventually
see how
he
they
just
did
like
it.
looks at the guy
And he gets
and he
chopped
just
up.
gets and gets sucked
Blended.
into the propeller, and you just see blood go everywhere.
I'd be
And
interested
I
to know
watched it
how
for the
they
first time
did
when I was
that
a kid.
without because they didn't do it without CGI, but how they made that propeller spin and do it safely.
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see how they did that.
Yeah,
I love the way he films that whole fight scene as well. He just,
Yeah.
like, spins
So well
around.
done.
Yeah.
So well done.
it's not all one take, but like it feels like
It
it, could
feels
be
like
all
it
one
is,
take because
yeah.
it just keeps going around in circles.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's my moment.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah,
Yes,
go.
go Cam.
So there's a couple moments for me. I think the where Marion and Indy are tied to the pole and the ghosts or the
ark gets opened.
The ark has been opened. I believe it's like the rays of God or something. That's one of them. But it isn't I think my main one, because honestly, by then, the popcorn's kind of cold and your hands are sweaty, and you know what? It's a bit too late in the film for that. So I'm thinking right at the start, he's just swung across the pit with the idol, goes into the cavern, and then the boulder comes. As soon as the boulder comes, that's it.
Jake's just
Jake's
snapped
just
his fingers.
You can say the
darn.
same thing.
No, because I had two in mind, and I was like, if he says one, I'll say the other.
If I said both, that would have been
bad.
That would have been funny.
So obviously the boulder was like the first one I thought of.
Yeah,
Great.
You're losing your popcorn early in the movie, but it doesn't matter because it's a great moment.
Well, it's only good for like an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
In this fictional scenario, the popcorn is good no matter when you eat
So
it.
it's like the perfect. It's just been popped. It's
always
like
good.
in your hand,
Yeah.
nice and warm.
Yeah.
My-
This is our. You only get one handful of popcorn. It better be good.
Fair enough.
Okay, my moment is the moment in the like I think they're in Cairo in the middle of streets. They're chasing each other around, and this big guy gets out and he has a knife. And Indiana Jones is about to do a knife fight.
I love that.
Instead, he just shoots the guy.
Yeah,
and I love
he's
it.
doing the big sword trick
he's like-
spinning. Do you know the trivia
Yeah,
around that?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say this is my moment because of the trivia. Harrison Ford was sick.
The whole cast and crew
Yeah.
was sick, and they
And-
filmed it like 6 or 7 times. And Harrison Ford. Well, I'll let you tell.
Ford said to Spielberg, "What if I just shot the guy?" And it makes so much sense for the character. He just gives up and wants to. Yeah, it's such a good moment
So
for the
funny.
trivia and for like just the film.
It's just funny as well.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
these
Yeah.
movies, I would never call it a comedy movie,
Mm.
but they have these like little comedic elements. That's my favorite style of humor, where it's like really
It's a
integrated
serious
into the
movie.
story.
Yeah.
But it feels organic. It's not
Yeah.
forced like a lot of the movies nowadays. Like
Yeah.
definitely the 70s and the 70s through the 90s with the Lucas films especially, he was really good at orchestrating that.
I mean, Star
that
Wars is
moment humor.
hilarious at moments.
So many great visual gags in Star Wars in this.
Harrison
It's-
Ford in Star Wars is just, I think Han Solo is my favorite character in
All of Star Wars.
the
The
original trilogy.
Okay.
Me too. And this might get
Now
some
we're
hate
back
from
to
you guys
Star
though.
Wars.
Harrison Ford
Whoops.
is Indiana Jones to me, not Han Solo.
Crazy. Okay, I'm gonna
When
move
I
on
think
from
of
that
Harry-
because I don't want to talk. I will always talk about Star Wars. I don't want to talk about it right
Okay,
Let's not. Let's
we-
but yeah,
have
these movies
too
are so
much Star Wars
influential,
on
and
the-
too
that
much
visual
Star
style and
Yeah.
gags, I think, prove that.
All
What a
right.
great selection of moments.
Do we,
Mhm.
I am not
let's-
surprised though that both of you were going to go with the boulder scene. As you said that before we even started,
You're like,
and
I've got an idea.
I never
We
thought
knew.
of that. That was never going to be my moment.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I love
Okay.
that moment. It
Yeah.
was never going to be my popcorn moment though, because it's everyone's popcorn moment. It's just
Hashtag
it's
not
I
the
know
my
it's so
popcorn moment.
basic, but it.
Can we get that trending, please?
hashtag not my
On-
popcorn moment.
Put it in all your reviews. Hashtag not my popcorn moment.
It's like, what was the best part of the movie and what was hashtag not my popcorn moment?
Guys, before we
Yes.
see Killers of the Flower Moon, we got to get popcorn, and I'll tell you which moments to eat it in the film.
You'll tell us.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I've
yeah,
already
'cause
seen
you've
this.
already
No,
seen
he's
it.
Jake's seeing it before us, but
I know. I feel
You
bad.
bet-
we're gonna
Do
have
you
to.
speak in movies?
No.
Okay,
Okay,
I
I
am
do.
admittedly quite bad at that.
But that's
I
okay.
will never spoil a movie
Because
for
I
someone.
will
So
have
don't-
already seen it,
so
don't
and I will
spoil it.
not do that.
We wouldn't have seen it yet, so I think we'll be good to
I
just chat
can
shit.
watch
Yeah, you can
really
chat, I don't
highly. I can watch really highly anticipated movies without talking. But it's just like every now and then
Yeah.
I get the urge to just like lean over to the side and go like, "Hey, what about?"
You guys
I don't
weren't
know,
really
like, it can
something.
be random mini comments, especially in Marvel. Like I'll point out something
Oh,
that I've
yeah.
noticed. I'll be like,
Mm.
"Oh,
that's-
did you see that?"
Yeah.
You guys weren't really anticipating this one, though, were you? Before
I've
this,
Kind of. I saw some of the trailers and thought this is something I'd like to watch, and then we cancelled our Apple TV Plus subscription. So
See, because like I've said before, I have heard a podcast episode about the real story. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh, cool! This is a movie coming out. I'll definitely watch it when it comes out." And then I forgot about it. Like I kept the name in my head, but just like forgot about it. Like I didn't know when it was coming out, and I didn't know it was Scorsese. Well, I did. They said that in the podcast, but I didn't know.
So thanks
Like-
again to Jake for reminding us about it.
Yeah, pretty much. You brought it back to the forefront.
Okay. Well,
And so, yeah, we're going to
This is
see it, and that's
highly-
exciting.
Now it is
I'm
highly
very
anticipated
excited.
by us. But
it's crazy you know what happens. I forgot about that.
let's move on.
Vaguely.
Let's move on for a game of quick pitch.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So what?
Who did what last week? We need to be writing this down.
We do. I believe last week was a spaghetti western.
It was.
That's certainly.
With
Directed by Lucas.
Directed by Lucas with
Starring. Was it?
Oh my god.
No, wait. It was Tim Burton, wasn't it?
No. Tim Burton was before
I
that.
was like, this is all blending together.
Tim Burton was the whiskey one.
Yeah. No, it was.
it was definitely George Lucas.
Spaghetti
George Lucas,
Western.
Spaghetti
Was it
Western.
Matthew McConaughey?
Yes. Yeah.
Feels right.
That
Feels
feels
right.
about right.
Yeah.
Please correct us.
Because it was the guy who didn't speak.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's McConaughey.
Yeah, it might not have been, but anyway. Cam, do you want to pick director?
I think. Let me think about it.
Jake,
think about it.
do you want to pick genre?
Sure.
I'm going to say
Comedy.
okay.
Just straight comedy.
Okay, just a straight comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Straight.
I was going to
comedy.
say I was going to jump him first and say Tom Holland just as like a random just like he's a
But he'd do so well.
prominent actor, but then you said comedy and I'm like he could do comedy like
Yeah.
so well. I
Well,
mean
you can
he
pick them if
plays
you want.
Spider-Man comedically. So depending on who you pick as director, I might change it, but for now I'm just going to leave it as Tom Holland.
Okay.
Are you just looking at a list of directors?
I can't
Okay,
think of any that we
while
haven't done
Cam's
already.
thinking of
I
his
can't think
directors,
of any
Jake,
we
who are
haven't
your top 10 directors? In
Okay.
order from 10 to 1.
done. Yeah, give me some ideas.
From 10 to 1.
From 10 to 1.
Let me pull my list.
Yeah.
He
I
also
knew you
needs
had
to
a
pull
list.
his
I don't want you to deep dive into them. Just list them by name.
Oliver Williams. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
The director of
Run.
Run.
And our guest.
And
10
our
Damien
guest is
Chazelle, 9 Christopher
Little
Nolan,
Wait,
8
Wait, say that
Coen-
again.
10 Damien Chazelle. No, wait. I need to change this. 10 Wes Anderson, 9 Chris Nolan, 8 Coen Brothers, 7 David Fincher, 6 Quentin Tarantino, 5 Stanley Kubrick, 4 Steven Spielberg,
I got it.
3 David Lynch, 2 Martin Scorsese, 1 Paul Thomas Anderson.
There you go.
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
Okay, sounds
We'll
good.
do Guy Ritchie.
Yeah. A Guy Ritchie comedy.
He's made.
Definitely been done before,
Done.
but not something
Tom.
I will ever get sick of.
Mm-hmm.
Never use Tom Holland. I want Tom Holland to be like the grisliest. Like he's this young guy, but he's really grisly and like jaded with the world. Because something terrible happened to him, but the terrible thing is like not actually that
But
terrible.
it's in London and he's a gangster as well.
Yeah, he's a London
He has to
gangster,
be.
and he's like the bottom rung of a criminal gang, but he's so jaded with the world because
And
he dropped his subway card. He dropped his underground card, his Oyster
his
card.
Oyster card.
He dropped that down the drain accidentally when he tripped over
So
on
now
the
he's
street.
just angry.
And now he's angry at the world because he can't get around because
That's great stuff.
he doesn't have a car because he's too poor and too young.
And his gang works with the Italian mafia, smuggling fake olive oil.
And it's called
I don't know.
The
It's a
World is Your
docu.
Oyster.
The world is your oyster. I like it. I like
That's
it.
great stuff.
This is from a documentary I wrote. I
Okay,
watched
so
recently.
let's take out that plot point.
Let's not do
But
that.
maybe he's jaded with the gang, and while he's like having his meltdown, he gets picked up by the police,
Mm-hmm.
and they recruit him to take down the gang.
Ooh. I like that.
But it's
I like that.
obviously it's a comedy, so it's done in the most ridiculous
And a
way
lot
possible.
of things go wrong.
And a lot of things go wrong.
French
but
Dispatch.
eventually,
That one.
Oh, yes.
true, that is sort of like that one vignette in French Dispatch. But still, I think it would work as a whole movie,
For sure.
especially if it was a Guy Ritchie comedy.
Hey, what was I saying? I wanted more from those stories. So-
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Let's just give it. Wes gives it to Guy Ritchie, and
Here you go, guy.
yeah,
Let's do this.
Here you go,
fun.
guy.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
That,
Do we
okay.
have? Is the name
The world is your
The
the world is your oyster.
oyster. Can we write this down like right now?
Okay,
Just put it in the doc. Write it down right now. So
we have these recorded.
We do, but
I'm gonna write it down now.
I don't want to listen
So-
to myself. No.
The world is our oyster.
The World is Our Oyster, directed by Guy Ritchie, starring Tom Holland.
I want Colin Farrell to be the leader of the gang, just because he's leader. He's big in Guy Ritchie films. He's in.
Okay, you guys talk. I'm gonna
he's
go
like
on mute and type this out. So talk about it.
All right. So Colin Farrell he's less of like the big mob boss. He's more of like the street smart.
Yeah, kind of like in The Gentleman.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. Yeah, exactly like The
But
Gentleman.
yeah, no, I want him to like, because that character's so good.
His character
we should
in The
just
Gentleman
keep
is-
some connective
is
tissue. Maybe he just
really
reprises that
good.
character.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Colin Farrell, The Penguin Show? You know there's
I
going to be a
am.
I
Penguin
didn't know
show?
there was a penguin show.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Wow.
Matt Reeves-
The makeup to him in
Yeah.
the Batman is so good.
Such a good
On
movie.
point.
He's great in that movie.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk.
We'll segue.
We start off with a cold open. It's a black and white.
Oh, of course.
Black and white.
Mhm.
Misty on film. Ollie. Like the grainiest, filmiest looking film you can filmiest, of course.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. You know what I mean. And it's 1950s London.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holland is standing.
It's not 1950s because he has an Oyster card. This is modern.
Damn it.
But
When did
the cold open can be 1950s. It can be Colin Farrell in Tom Holland's place,
Yeah.
and then we switch.
Ooh, you're giving me ideas. Okay, so fade in, Colin Farrell, 1950s. Wait, does that mean we have to make him really old?
Hey,
That's
he's
fine. That's
really
fine.
young.
That's
he's,
fine.
He's like
He's-
7.
He's like 7.
in the 50s version.
He's
That would be
7.
really funny. That actually
that'd
adds
be cool.
a lot of comedic
Okay,
elements.
so keep getting sidetracked. Jeez. Colin Farrell, 1950s, black and white film, subway station, underground
London Underground.
in London.
Colin Farrell was born in 1976.
Who cares? Who cares?
Jesus.
Well,
Okay.
It's not
The
good.
story is set in 2007 then.
Sounds good.
I don't know. Who cares? We'll figure out the logistics later.
Oh my god, I'm just picturing like a crime noir kind of thing. Okay, so he's Colin Farrell as he's a child, and he gets pushed. There's police. I don't know. Just stop me when you think this is rubbish. But there's police chasing a bad guy up the platform, and he gets knocked onto the tracks, and a train comes past and chops his ankle off. That's the first scene. That's the first scene. Then we smash cut to 50 years in the future. So 2000. So Tom Holland is also 7.
Nah, Tom Holland's he's a young adult.
He's 7?
Yeah,
He
we
was born in the
digitally-
90s.
We digitally de-aged Tom Holland
De-age him.
to be 7.
Oh, this
No,
is
Tom Holland's a
rubbish.
young adult.
Tom Holland is his
I'm
current
laughing
age.
a lot, so
I
This
feel
is
like
like-
we could get rid of the first section, the cold.
No, but we need it. So
It sets the tone.
we need a cold open, but it definitely could be different.
So, smash cut to, early 2000s, Colin Farrell, big mob boss, but street smart mob boss, who is hell-bent on destroying the family
Underground.
of the cop that pushed him onto the train.
Yes.
Onto the train tracks.
Yes. And that cop's son.
Sorry, the Bobby.
Yeah, the Bobby. that cop's son is the one who
The
picks up
Peters.
Tom Holland
Mhm.
and recruits him to take down the gang. They both have a personal vendetta.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tom
But-
Holland knows nothing about this.
Yeah,
But
even though he is part
just-
of the gang.
He is
he's
part
just
of the
like-
gang, but he's
But at the very, very, very bottom level.
sad. He's just lost his Oyster card. He's late to the drug pickup. He gets yelled at by Colin Farrell and has to walk home because he doesn't have his Oyster card. He walks past, what's it called? The police station in London, Scotland Yard. He walks past Scotland
The
Yard.
police station in London.
They're like a
and then it
famous
says
police station?
Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard is separate to the police. They're like
Aren't they the city of London? No?
The
I don't-
Met.
the
the Metropolitan Police.
Metropolitan
is
Police, yeah.
like the police organization in London.
Yeah, he walks past Scotland Yard.
Anyway, he walks past Scotland Yard.
He walks
Yeah, sure.
past Scotland. I don't know. I've watched too much Sherlock.
And someone
And-
picks him up.
And
And-
the police officer's son, who pushed who pushed Colin Farrell, the son of that police officer, is standing up the front. They've been tailing Tom Holland for many months now since he joined. He's sitting there smoking a cigarette, and he goes, he recruits Tom Holland. I'm not going to do dialogue because I can't.
And he goes,
And he
yes,
goes,
Cam, how does he go?
He goes and recruits Tom Holland to take down Colin Farrell. And then we finish with this big mano-a-mano where the police officer who pushed Colin Farrell turns up on he turns up at the final location and goes, "I'm sorry," and they make up. And that's it.
And that's
I don't know. You're not pitching in here, and I'm just
I'm
saying.
letting you go on your journey.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm not. You guys are the writers.
And that's it.
You write it
That's
for
the
me.
movie.
No, you've
Thanks, Cam.
Have you written all
it
this down?
No. I wrote the key information that we just spoke
Wait,
about.
it'll come
And
to
the
us.
synopsis.
It'll come back to you,
Yeah,
especially.
and the synopsis.
This is your baby.
Jeez. I hope not. Well, summer film.
Summer film.
I'm going to get in contact
Let me
with
just
Tom Holland's
reach out with
agent.
Tom Holland.
I'll contact
Unpaid
Richie.
Colin Farrell.
He'd do it.
He'll do it for free.
He'd do it.
No, he wouldn't. No one would do free work if they can get paid for it.
Also, no one would do this film for free.
No one would. This is terrible.
I don't think anyone would do this film.
Okay, this is the.
But I feel like
But I would.
just the premise, we can make it good.
Yeah.
the premise could be
Yeah.
good. All right, we're
Um,
going to London.
But that's it.
All right.
Thanks for joining us for
Thank you,
this week.
everybody.
Royal Tenenbaums next
yes,
week.
Royal Tenenbaums next week. Watch it. We'll be watching it, and we'll talk about it. Thanks for joining us.
That's a wrap.
See ya.
See you later.